Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus-Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus-Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience in the South as well as our online audience joining us, thanks to our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcast. We're glad you all could be with us as well. We're excited to welcome Tanner-Chidester to our program today. Tanner is someone who's not only been able to find success for himself in business, but he's also been very passionate about sharing tips with you guys, especially this year with so many difficulties out there. If you guys are not following Tanner, of course we'll let you know where to find him online, but also his advice for all of you as you're kind of moving forward toward 2021. Hello to you, Tanner. Thank you so much for the time.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Hey, man, the pleasure's definitely all mine. You know, I had a lot of fun prepping for this segment with you because one of the things that comes through is definitely your energy and your passion, and especially when it comes to talking about business and helping others. Do you think that kind of has been the key to your success, Tanner, that you have been someone who is passionate about what you do, and that really shows in your work?
Yeah, I mean, at least I like to think so, right? I mean, I think it's super important that when you wake up in the morning, you're at least excited about what you're trying to do. Otherwise, you know, after a while, it'll start to kind of dull off.
Have you always known, though, that you were meant for something better, Tanner? I mean, is success something that you always figured that you would be able to reach?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, from a young age, my dad, he was a teacher, and we didn't have a lot. I didn't have less than I needed, but there wasn't a lot of extra. I had 6 siblings, and my dad just really never gave me anything extra. You know, he told me that if I wanted to go to college, that would have to be something I figured out, you know, cars, all that kind of stuff. And so I knew from a young age I had a desire to make money because I didn't have a lot growing up. And as I got older and my football career ended, that's what I really turned to is, you know, how can I make a lot of money? And obviously, how can you help people at the same time? I mean, there's a lot of ways to make a lot of money, but at the end of the day, you want to also try to do something that's productive and, you know, helps other people's lives.
Yeah, and I think there's a big lesson there with you then, Tanner, because I noticed when I was prepping for this, you seem to be able to build a great deal of your success on your passion. And I know for myself, I mean, definitely when you're passionate about something, it makes it a lot easier to give everything to it. Fitness is a very big part of your life. So was that just an obvious progression for you then that it would be a part of your business too?
Yeah, I lucked out in that sense. I think some people, their passions have a big market and can have a little more success there. I don't think every single passion is, you know, super or the easiest path, I should say, for business. Okay. But I lucked out in the fact that fitness is, you know, a multi-billion-dollar industry, and I've done fitness modeling. I've been in sports my entire life, and so when I started my first business, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and it just seemed like the natural progression to start there because I've been doing it my whole life, and that's what I was good at.
And now here we are in 2020 where you're not only able to continue to build on your own brand when it comes to fitness, business, and entrepreneurship, but also coaching others as well. I mean, have you always wanted to be able to help? Because I think for a lot of people out there, Tanner, they're just content just being able to make it for themselves, right? But have you always known that you wanted to be able to share what you've learned with others?
Yeah, it's a good question. Originally, when I started my fitness business, I had no idea that I would end up business consulting. That wasn't like something I thought I was going to do or I had intentions to do. But as I got more success, I think people just started asking me questions. I had trainers come to me, and I had other business consultants come to me and people who wanted to start a business, and it just naturally progressed that way. So I think I've always wanted to help people. I just don't think I knew I was going to help them exactly building their businesses. But as I got bigger and I had more success and I was making more money, people saw it, and so it naturally progressed that way. But it's been rewarding in the sense that I went through a lot of stuff to grow my business. I had to spend a lot of money, wasted a lot of time and energy doing the wrong things. And so I think the most rewarding thing is just shortcutting someone's success. I don't think anyone can make you successful, but I think they can definitely shortcut it if they can tell you what not to do and what to do versus you having to figure it all out on your own.
Well, great point. I noticed when I was prepping for this, of course, with your YouTube in particular, and if you guys are not following Tanner, we're going to let you guys know how to do that. One of the videos that you made this year that I think is so important was about something that all of us are already using, Tanner, and that is our phones. And you were basically letting your audience know that you all could be able to use this device to be able to build a business and to build your brand. That is something that is so true, but have you found that that's something that many people look at and say, yeah, that's easy for you to say? I mean, what has that been like for you to show people, especially this year, how that really is, how it can start for them?
Well, to that point, when I first started my online business, I was in the same boat. I couldn't believe that some of the people were making what they said they made. But I guess a different mindset was just that I thought to myself, they can't all be lying, right? Not every single person who's claiming they make a lot of money is a scam artist or has bad intentions. So it just shifted from like thinking bad to going, okay, if they can do it, why can't I? And I think that's just the mindset that holds some people back. I think some people want to assume the worst instead of assume the best. And I just kind of, after that, once I knew it was possible or I thought it was possible, I just started trying as many things as I could and paying for as many coaches as I could find to try to figure it out. So to answer your question, yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think how stuff's changed. I mean, I have talks with my dad, and, you know, he's like, hey, what you do now didn't exist. So it's pretty cool that you're able to be successful just from using your cell phone today.
So let's talk about something that does stop a lot of people, Tanner, and I'm sure you run into this as well when you're talking to people, and that is the fear. And it seems to be sometimes twofold is what I've been noticing, especially this year. One, a fear of failure, which I think, you know, can seem like a simple thing, but also the fear of what other people think. How have you not allowed those two things to stop you?
Originally it did. It got to me a lot in the beginning, but fortunately and unfortunately, one of the things in life is if something happens more, you kind of become numb to it. It's like hearing someone cuss a lot. You know, after a while, you stop hearing the cuss words. So part of it was just getting a thicker skin, just realizing it's part of the game. You know, I can only imagine people like Kim Kardashian, Logan Paul, some of those people, the amount of flack they get. But you just realize that a lot of times either that person's not happy with their life, and two, it's just part of growth. If you're going to put yourself out there, part of it is you're going to have negativity. And then one thing that really helped me is as my business grew, this isn't an option for everyone, but I just got a social media manager. And I just said, hey, your job is to make sure I don't see negative comments. And then that way it can affect you because you never see them. But as it happens, you get more used to it. You realize it's part of business and it doesn't quite affect you as much. And you just have to really work on your personal development as a person to know that your self-worth doesn't come from what someone says good about you or bad about you.
Such a good point. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, he's on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome Tanner-Chidester to our program today. We're talking to Tanner not only about what it's been like for him to build his business and his brand, but also to be able to share with you guys as well. So, I mean, you've been able to achieve a lot of success, Tanner. You've been able to build an amazing following. Are you a person that is still kind of driven by the what's next?
Yeah, I mean, I think I am. It's funny you ask that. I in no way compare myself to Michael Jordan, but if you watch that documentary that just came out, I can't remember the title of it right now, but there's just a part in there where it talks about why he was so successful and how every time he hit a goal, he just wanted to hit the next goal, and he was never satisfied. And I'm not sure where I got that from, but something that I've really taken to heart is as I hit goals, I realize, well, man, if I can hit this, then I can do that. And if I can do that, then I can do the next thing. And so it's really just helped propel me to every time I hit a goal, I just strive to hit the next goal because I just want to be the best I can be. And I don't know how else to explain it other than that. I just want to know when I look back on my life, let's say I'm on my deathbed, I just want to be able to say I did the best I could do. And I know a lot of people don't do that, and that would just drive me crazy.
Well, I want to ask you a variation of that question then, with that in mind then. Tanner, how has your idea of success changed from when you first started?
Great question. As I've made more money and I have more of the accolades, the awards, the cars, all the material stuff, right, that, everyone says it doesn't make you happy, but you don't believe them, right? You're like, yeah, you just don't make a lot of money. That's what I would tell myself, right? I'm like, yeah, you just don't make a lot of money. But it's true that, as you get higher up and more status, that those things truly don't make you happy. It really comes down to people and, having a good relationship with yourself. And so that's something I'm really working on right now, is just my personal development as a person and, what the stuff that I really care about and that's actually important. And so I would just say I have less of emphasis on material things, even though they're nice. And I just really like the growth and more just becoming the best person I can. Like, people say, well, if you have all the money you need, why keep going? It's just about being the best I can be. So sometimes the revenue in the business is simply an indication of how well you're doing. It doesn't really matter how much it pads the bank account. It's just, hey, if the business is growing, that just shows that I'm doing the steps necessary to continue to grow, and the growth is what excites me.
The last thing I want to talk to you about, Tanner, and again, I appreciate the time, is about social media. I mentioned earlier YouTube, but Instagram is where you also have been able to build a massive following, as well as sharing a lot of tips. And what I love about the way you're able to mix it up on Instagram is that, yes, we're able to kind of see you living your life, but also there's a lot of nuggets that you're sharing along the way. How did you kind of decide on how you wanted to present yourself when it came to social media? Because that's kind of, I think, sometimes been a difficult thing for some people to navigate, to figure out what do they want to share, how do they want to use it, what is the purpose for them. How did you kind of come on that decision, especially with Instagram?
Yeah, so I think the best thing is just to try to be yourself. If you try to be someone you're not, or try to do things that you think will come off well, but they're inauthentic, eventually someone's going to catch you, because you're kind of lying, right? You're not trying to do something deceitful or like bad, I would say, but when you're not being your true self, eventually you're going to do something when you're tired, you're not thinking, you may post something, and it's just going to come off, I think, in a bad light. So, for me, what's like important is I want to grow. I want to try to help people, and I just try to present myself in that light. Some people will like it, some people will not. Some people will like what I post, some won't. But I think the best thing is just try to be yourself, because trying to be anyone else, it's almost like being a professional actor, and not that many people are good at that, right? And it gets tiring after a while. So I just try to be myself, and hopefully the right people will accept that message, and then the people who don't, I just move on without them.
Well, I tell you, that's so important. Do you find that also, as you have risen through the ranks, not only, of course, with success, but also with notoriety, Tanner, that another thing is about the company you keep? We've been talking a lot about that recently, because I think, with so much negativity out there, I always encourage our audience to make sure you're watching the people around you, what you're feeding on, what you're reading, what you're watching. How important has that been for you to keep the right mindset along the way?
Super important. I've never been a huge rah-rah guy or mindset guy, but as I'm getting older and I'm getting more experience, I realize that having a good mindset is extremely important. It's also extremely important for your team. The team really follows the leader, and so I think it's super important just to keep a positive mindset. And even if you don't feel that positive, don't show it to your team, because people feed off the leader. So. Again, like I said, it's something I've been working on. I've been putting a lot more time into my personal development as my team has gotten bigger, and I've been able to let go of the reins a little bit more. But absolutely is crucial in terms of just development and business in general.
There you go. Again, everyone, Tanner-Chidester has been our guest for this segment, and individuals being able to not only to make moves for himself, but also to give other individuals the tools to be able to find success in their own lives. Tanner, we've kind of talked about some of the ways here, but let our audience know, how can they stay connected with you?
Yeah, obviously I have all my social media profiles, but Instagram is kind of one of my favorite platforms. It's just tanner.chidester. And, if they go on YouTube and type in my name, or Facebook, it should pop right up. There's not too many Tanner-Chidesters out there, so it should be pretty easy to find.
Right. Well, Tanner, keep up the great work, man. Thank you so much for the time today, and looking forward to our next conversation together.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Glad to do it. And definitely want to thank our mutual friend, Zach Tepperman, for setting up this chat with us for today, and thank all of you, our audience, both on the radio side and online, for tuning into this segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus-Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live, and let's go make today amazing. Take care.